Okay, so I look horrible, but I don't really have time to like change or anything. This will be my labor and delivery video. I'll show you him real quick. He's really tiny. Oops, sorry. Let's see, Tuesday night I went in, and Tuesday night, sorry, oh I got one hand. I went in at 7:30, and I filled out paperwork and we got set up. My doctor's name was Dr. Wesley Trueblood, so that was interesting. And I forgot the pill was called. It was like Cervidil, Cervidex, something like that. But basically they cut it up into little quarters, and it went inside a plastic casing, and then it was put inside of me. Are you hiccuping or are you whining? Oh, yeah, I see. Anyways, and the plan was every 4 hours they were going to put that in there. Once they put it in there, I was not allowed to get up for an hour. I had to lay there with it in. So, like, of course, 20 minutes into my hour that I had to lay there, I had to pee really, really bad. It never failed. There were times, I think one time, I only left it in for like 45 minutes before I had to get up and pee, and I could not hold it anymore, and I barely made it to the bathroom. So, like, the first pill went okay, you know, we watched TV for a while, me and Jeremy talked, you know, just kind of hung out. They checked me, that was pretty awful, did not enjoy that. They came back, checked me again, I was at the same place, you know, put another pill in, and then gave me some sleeping pills to help me sleep. Hold on. And, you know, at some point during the night, I was getting up to go to the bathroom like every couple minutes. The Strep B, they didn't give me penicillin for it because I'm allergic to penicillin, so they gave me something else, and I was hooked up. They said I was dehydrated, so they hooked me up to an IV, and you know, so on top of that, I was going to the bathroom even more. You know, gave me another pill. I think all the others, there were 4 before I woke up around, let's see, 7 or 8 in the morning. You know, I woke up, the next doctor came in, they switched nurses, and they were telling me the entire time, you're not changing a lot, you're going to be here, you'll probably be in labor for more than a day. So don't expect them tomorrow, you know, you'll still be here laboring tonight. And I was like, okay. You know, the cramps are getting a little worse with every pill they gave me. And I guess after the 4th pill, the doctor that I had then, like, there were 3 or 4 doctors that kept coming in and out, and they all wanted to check me. And it was pretty horrible. The contractions were getting a little better, and she wanted to break my water. The doctor that I have, her kid got sick, and she couldn't make it in. She's trying to find somebody to watch her kids so that she could come in, and then she ended up getting sick and couldn't come in. So I did not see my doctor until I left the hospital this morning. What are you doing? I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyways, so she wanted to break my water after she checked me. I think I got up to 3 centimeters dilated before she broke my water. You know, whenever she checked me then, she was like going in there trying to stretch it out, get it going a little faster. I think I only got up to 50% effaced before she broke my water. And they went in and broke the water. Contractions got really bad. and what they were going to do was, if the contractions didn't get better, they were going to put me on Pitocin. And let me check my time. Okay. So, I told them if they were going to put me on Pitocin and they really thought it was still going to be the whole rest of the day, I wanted to get on an epidural if I could. So they went ahead and set me up on that, and I mean, it got pretty bad. They were right on top of each other. All the contractions they hurt. They went all the way through my back. You know, I have 3 or 4 people in the room trying to tell me to breathe, and all I can think is, I've just got to make it through this contraction and I'll be okay. But once they finally ended, I had another one, and I just, you know, I was trying to breathe and trying to concentrate, and they're like, oh, well, if you can hold that a little longer on any pain medication, and I ended up not being able to. So, the woman who did the epidural came in. Her name was Phyllis Willis. She was really nice. I think she was just really nice because she was making everything better. And they sat me up. She put the epidural in, gave me a shot, then left the room, and then the machine started beeping. So they came back, they're poking at me, they're like, don't move, I don't want you to move this way, just let us handle this, you know, which is really awkward, but, I mean, the epidural kicked in pretty fast, and I was like, alright, if you guys just want me to sleep, I can do that, and I just passed out. And it turned out she hadn't put it in right, or it came loose or something. I don't know, it was weird, but I had to sit up all over again, which wasn't as hard the second time since I was completely numb. I just let them sit me up, and I did what they told me to do, and they fixed it. And then they started the Pitocin. They came in and checked me, and I'm trying to remember what time this was. After the epidural, I'm going to be honest, I just kind of slept through it. When they broke my water, that was when the problems kind of started, was that they were worried about how I wasn't progressing even with the pills. And when they broke my water, there was meconium in it, so So, anyways, they had the epidural going, and when they broke my water, sorry, I'm tired. Anyways, when they broke my water, his heart rate dropped, like, it just plummeted. And the nurse was calmly freaking out, like, they're like, yes, we see that, and she's like, well, I think you guys are not realizing how the heartbeat went down, you need to look. And they're like, yeah, we see that, calm down. And I was kind of looking, I was like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, sometimes they do this, you know, it's normal, and just rolled me over to my side. And that was another thing, after they broke my water and the contractions were really bad, I had to stay on one side and couldn't roll over, because anytime I moved, his heart rate dropped a lot. So they started me on Pitocin because, like, at first my contractions were getting better, and they thought that they might not even have to do the Pitocin, and then they were just falling a little short, and they wanted it to be in the 250 to 300 range, and I think they were coming up to 175, you know, and just not getting close enough. And so they started me on Pitocin, and every time they gave me a shot of Pitocin, his heart rate dropped. Like, it would drop significantly enough to worry them, and they weren't even giving me that much. They were just trying to give me enough to get the contractions really, really going. And like I said, I was sleeping because, I mean, that's what they told me to do. They said, go to sleep, so I did. It wasn't that hard. My husband was in the room, my grandpa, my dad, and my grandma were all in there. And I just kind of let them deal with everything. And, you know, if I woke up and the nurse was sitting there, I'd ask her if things were okay, and she said yeah, and she was watching the monitor really close. And I think at one point I woke up, and my grandpa was pretty upset, and he had been talking to my mom, and my mom wanted to talk to me, and she was kind of panicky, sounding like everybody was panicking. They were all really upset looking, and I was like, should I be worried? And they're like, no, you're fine. You know, the nurse and the doctors were like, no, you're fine, Millie. So I was like, okay, I mean, if they told me not to worry, I wasn't going to worry. you know. So I can't remember who ended up telling me that they were thinking about doing a C-section, and they were thinking pretty strongly about it. And I was like, okay, well, and I asked them why, and they said, well, let's just have the doctors come in and look at you again. And they came in and checked me. Oh, okay. They came in and checked me, and I was 44 centimeters dilated, 75% phased, and I was just not progressing at all. This was like 8 o'clock the next day that I finally had the C-section. So it was around 7 that they finally, came in and checked on me and said, okay, we're going to have to do a C-section, or you can keep going and probably have to have an emergency C-section. It's up to you. And, I told them I just want them out. I want them safe. Whatever you guys have to do. And, I talked to Jeremy, and I really hadn't wanted a C-section. I didn't want the recovery time. Didn't want to feel like I couldn't do anything. And, they couldn't figure out why he was having such a problem. But they were like, alright, well, got me set up for the C-section. Got me in the room around 8:20 or so. He was born at 8:37 at night, so I was in labor for, I think, technically a day and like half an hour, something like that. But I got him out. Like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it, he was 7 pounds, 9 ounces, 20.5 inches long. He was a very long baby. And what had happened was his head was sideways, which is why it wasn't progressing. And meconium, he was in distress for a little bit. So I found out later that my grandpa had been talking to my mom. My mom wanted to know why they hadn't done the C-section if there was meconium when the water broke, and told him to talk to them. And he apparently he yelled at him or something. He didn't yell at him, he got onto him and started making a huge deal about it. And that was why the doctors had come in and started, I don't know, why they weren't letting me just wait it out, because I think that was their original intention or something. Honestly, I slept through most of it. It sounds horrible, but I had no idea what was going on after they gave me the epidural. I just relaxed. It sounds awful, but I knew what was going on when I got the C-section. Jeremy came in there, and they pulled him out. And I have no idea when they pulled him out when he started crying, but he did start crying pretty fast. And he's a long, long man. And Jeremy went in there, they took care of him. And like I said, he was sideways. Because they get a cone head when they're in the birth canal and everything. When they come out, they have a cone head. And, he had one, but it was on the side of his head. Yeah. He does not like being put down at all. Okay, I'll do a part 2.